Alright guys, we are cranking up our stream right now. Kind of had a little bit of our stream going. We're waiting for everything to kind of happen at this point so that we can get everybody in the room. We don't want to start too early and miss out on anybody kind of joining us because we have a lot of stuff to go over this time. So hopefully people will start creeping in here. A couple of you guys are rolling up in here. I don't want to waste too much time at the very beginning. Obviously everyone can go back and catch any of the previous stuff. Good morning everybody, or good evening everybody I should say. Hopefully it's not morning. Well, it may be morning somewhere where somebody is. I want to first say hi to everybody. I'm probably going to screw up some of you guys handles on here on YouTube. Nathan D, that's pretty easy. I did it 84. Jay Griff, what's up Jarrett? Archangel, Glock 7mm, Rim Mag, Shamrock Gaming. Welcome everybody. Good to see you guys. If you guys have, just real quick, let's do a mic check so to speak. I want to make sure that I'm not, I noticed last week when I went back and looked at the rebroadcast that my mic, it distorted on the high end. Like if I got excited about something and I kind of raised my voice a little bit, it kind of distorted a little bit like at that point. And I must have gotten excited quite a bit last week because I noticed it distorted quite a bit. Let's see, Mike Quigley, Brian Marshall, Kazuna Nori, Trap, Rodney Hendrickson, Dave McLean, Ralph Otero, Raphael Otero, Mojo Man. Just trying to give you guys some shout outs. I appreciate you guys coming and hang out with us tonight. So anyway, I want to make sure that my audio levels are good because I don't want to aggravate you guys because we're in here typically for about an hour. So I want to make sure that we're doing everything the way it needs to be done. Fort Smith, Arkansas, welcome to the room. All right, guys, I'm going to try to go right into it. We're going to kind of kick things off week to week. Obviously, this is an ever-changing, kind of a fluid show. I think what I'm going to start doing is having a mini monologue at the very beginning. So let me kind of go into that, and then we'll kind of go into our topics. The topics that I have to go over tonight are going to be obviously more talk about the bump fire stocks, more talk about HR 3999 that the Republican/Democrats, and I say slash because at this point all of these that are in this pot pretty much operate the exact same way. We're going to talk about their kind of vagueness, a video that we put out, and hopefully I can show that video on here and not bore you guys too much with talking about it and you guys can see it. Definitely want you guys to understand what's going on here. Again, the vagueness of the bill is what bothers me more than anything. I want to talk about some of the things we've been doing last week. We'll get into that real quick. And also want to talk about a brand new gun that's kind of on the market, the Smith and Wesson M&P 2.0. I think you'll be pleased with that. We'll go into some pretty good detail with this pistol here in a little bit. Let's get right into it. We had a pretty good week last week for Legally Armed America, I should say, as far as exposure goes. Let's see. Hey, Lee Phillips, hi from Australia. Good to see. I knew we'd have, and Canada's in here also. Good to see you guys. We put out a video maybe Wednesday of last week, and this video was on basically the proper description of a bump fire stock. I didn't show how to install it, which thankfully I didn't, because YouTube right now, in their kind of Nazi ways of doing things, are taking down all videos that show how a bump fire stock is installed onto a gun. For all I know, they'll take this video down for me saying that. But they've taken all those videos down, and I didn't want to bore the audience with, hey, this is how you install a bump fire stock, because I didn't feel like that's what the general public was looking for. I kind of sat back and listened from Monday, for sure Monday and Tuesday, as all the mainstream media people, and I hate to lump them all into one category, but they really were. They were all giving out bad information. The main part of the information was that the assumption that a bump fire stock automatically converted your gun into a fully automatic AR-15 or semi-automatic gun, from a semi-automatic into a fully automatic. And as you and I both know, or we all know, that there is no way it doesn't convert it. It's still a semi-automatic. It just happens to have a little bit more rapid rate of fire because of the physics of how the bump fire stock itself works. So anyway, after seeing that for 2 days and realizing there's just too much bad information going on out here, I even went and looked at some of the old bump fire stocks out there that were, or videos out there, and they were more how-tos, you know, how to install it. They didn't really go into detail about what the bump fire did and the mechanics of how it worked. Long story short, we put a video together doing that. I don't know, I don't even know how long the video was, probably 6 to 8 minutes or something like that. We put this video out Wednesday. Overnight, several thousand views. Well, long story short, within 6 days, it's got 1 million views. And I don't know where it's at right now. I think I looked at it earlier. It's 1.1 or 1.2 million views. So needless to say, we got a lot of exposure out there that we probably wouldn't normally get, because a lot of times we illegally on America kind of fly under the radar. In other words, gun guys are who looks at our stuff. It's usually not liberals, anti-gun people, the average Joe off the street. It's usually not a guy from the UK. You know, it's usually guys who are interested in the type of things that we're talking about, the newest pistol that's coming out, maybe self-defense technique or something of that nature. That's the kind of group that's usually watching what we're doing. And when we put this video out, it was seen by way more people. It was seen by the people that hate us and what we stand for with the Second Amendment. It was seen by people who were simply just curious, probably could care less about guns. They weren't anti or pro-gun. They just didn't know what the heck a bump fire stock was. So it got seen by a bunch of people. Plus, and I wrote some of the names down here, it got picked up. I can't even mention all the websites who picked it up. And the good thing is, a lot of the websites were asking us if they asking us for permission to post the video. Most of them, I think all of them, we gave permission to, because we figured, what the heck, you know, it's good information. We want everybody to have it, regardless of what the website slant is, because we know most of these websites were not looking to do us any favors by posting our video. They were nothing else. They were, you know, maybe take some of the words that we said in the video and twist them a little bit. But we also did interviews with Time Magazine, NPR, CBS, ABC, Huffington Post. Those are the ones that I know for sure. Yes, I was not shy about any of those guys. The reason why I'm telling you that is somebody who is a responsible gun owner who has a voice has got to talk to these people. That's why I didn't have a problem talking to the likes of, say, CBS, NPR, Time Magazine, Huffington Post. Those are obviously not gun-friendly publications or websites, that's for sure. But I kind of look at it like this, folks. If we continuously refuse to talk to those people on the left, they're just going to give their version of everything. They're going to give their version of every single story. They're going to tell you how a gun works. And you and I both know that they don't know how a gun works, why it's used, what it was manufactured for. So I would much rather see one of us as a voice on there, even if it's even if we're bullied on there, or even if we're spoken down to. Anything like that, I don't have a problem with, because we can fight fire with fire in a professional type of way. So that's why I agreed to all these interviews, and it really did. It got us a lot of exposure last week, so much so that we're not sure, but even 60 Minutes is talking to us right now about doing some future stuff with them. So that's going to be kind of exciting. Again, we know we're not going into friendly territory with 60 Minutes. We know what kind of pieces they're known for putting out. We know their opinion on guns and firearms and the Second Amendment, and those of us that own those. It doesn't matter. Again, we at least are a responsible voice that we can go out there and talk to. I look at it this way. I'd rather it be us, because we're somewhat educated. I say somewhat, kind of a little asterisk next to that. We're somewhat well-spoken, and we're not intimidated by them on the left and the anti-gun people. I'd much rather it be us than them go pick some hayseed up out of the woods somewhere who has just as strong a Second Amendment views as us, but who's going to drop F-bombs when he's talking to them, who's going to get pissed off at them and say something really stupid and crazy, and there they've painted us with a broad brush, and they're going to automatically assume every single gun owner is just like Billy right there chewing on that piece of hay. So I'd rather it be us than Billy, and that's why we're agreeing to a lot of this stuff. And you know, it's good. You know, we've talked to some Second Amendment attorneys. Thanks to Laura Evans, our marketing director, for setting that all up. So we've got some people who are really trying to help us out and make sure that we're approaching all of these topics and handling them in the most professional manner that we possibly can. So again, it was kind of a whirlwind week. We're going on a week and a half now since that video went out, and we're happy at this point. You know, everything seems to be settling down some. We're getting back to normal, getting back to where we can put all of our videos out and do things like that. Let's save the fun stuff, the Smith and Wesson M&P 2.0 for last. Let's get right into some of these things. I'm going to see if I can play this video for you guys. I'm not sure. I tried playing the video last week, and it seems like the system gets a little bogged down and is not capable of doing this. So if for some reason I screw up and the video won't stop playing, I apologize. Let's see. Is it going to play? Let me see here. Too labor intensive on this system. Let me back this up a little bit and see if you guys, here we go. Might be a lag on here.
Hey friends, typically whenever we meet out here at the Up the Creek Gang Range, we're having a little bit more fun talking about a new product or new technique, shooting-wise, or gun safety or something of that nature.
It's not going to be so much fun today.
We've got a new attack on our gun rights by those that would call themselves being on our side, the Republicans.
Several of the Republicans in Congress, teaming up with several Democrats in Congress, have put forth a bill, a measure, so to speak, that they're trying to drive through that has the guise of being basically a bump fire stop bill. That's what they're trying to sell this as, based on the motion from the Las Vegas shooter. Well, it's not that. Nowhere does it even mention the word bump stock in there. Now, I know what you may be thinking, well, they're talking about a bump stock. That's not how laws are written. When a law is written with a huge arching umbrella to allow several things to fall up underneath it, all of those things that fall underneath it are susceptible to that law. If you want to ban bump stocks, you name the bump stock. You name the actual mechanical features of that bump stock as something that you want to ban or outlaw. You don't put vague wording in there like this bill does. This bill is H.R. 3999, in case you guys want to actually look at the wording in it. I will read the wording to you real quick. You tell me how vague you think this is. The bill is going to prohibit the manufacture, possession, or transfer of any part or combination of parts that is designed and functions to increase the rate of fire of a semi-automatic rifle, but does not convert the semi-automatic rifle into a machine gun and for other purposes. So we're going to ban pieces, parts, a part, any kind of accessory, if you will, that may make a firearm, a semi-automatic rifle, so to speak, specifically, that might increase the rate of fire. Okay, my first question to that is, what's the standard rate of fire? What's an acceptable rate of fire based on you? Because you're putting forth a law, so if you want me to follow a rule, you've got to tell me what the rules are. What are the parameters of the rule? When I drove out here to the gun range, I drove down a 50-mile-an-hour highway. I knew what the parameters of that highway was. I knew it was 50 miles an hour. I knew that's how fast I had to go because I could get a ticket for going less, but I knew if I went faster, if I went over that, if I increased my rate of speed, to use their wording in the bill, that I could get a ticket for it. Now, not a felony, according to what this law is probably going to pass on, but I knew that I was breaking the law if I went over 50. I know what the acceptable level of speed is. I know what the acceptable rate of speed is. I know what the standard rate of speed is to get where I'm at right now. I know what will get me in hot water. I know what will get me in trouble. When you put forth a bill that is as vague as this H.R. 3999 and you have zero facts in it whatsoever, no standard at all, nothing even alluded to or even nodded at or winked at or hinted at in any kind of way, you just say if it increases the rate of fire. Is this a standard rate of fire or is this? Who decides that? So are we going to leave this open-ended thing open to Congress? Have you heard the comments
that people that are supposed to even be on our side are making right now. Paul Ryan doesn't have a clue what a bump stock is. And this guy's going out there talking about bump fire stocks. He doesn't even know what they are by his own admission, by his own words. He does not know what a bump fire stock is. And in the same breath, he's telling you and I what we should be doing with a bump fire stock. Now, I'm not defending a bump fire stock. I'm using that as an example for Paul Ryan. These guys that we are trusting to make these laws, and I say trusting because I don't think many of us actually are, but we're putting it in their hands to make these laws, and they don't even know this field. They don't even know this industry. They're not even soliciting any input from any of the experts out there. I'm not saying I'm an expert, but they aren't soliciting input from any experts. There are plenty of them out there. They're not asking them. It's like me changing the rule book of how the game of golf is played. I'm not the guy to be doing that. You don't want to trust that game to me. So we're going to leave it up to Paul Ryan and this guy who's pushing this bill through. Let's see, Mr. Carlos Curbelo, Republican from Florida. That's who's penning this thing. That's the guy who's penning this bill to push it up, Republican from Florida. That's who we're going to leave it up to? Who's the clown out there in California who was talking or two ago about a 30-round clip, 30 caliber clip? Everything was wrong that he was saying was capable of shooting bullets at 1 million rounds per second. That's the people that we're leaving these unopened clauses and bills open for to go in there and fill in the blanks later on at their leisure. Do you trust Paul Ryan to tell you what the standard rate of fire is on an AR-15, a semi-automatic rifle? Do you trust him? Do you trust anybody that has a zip code in Washington, D.C. to tell you and I what the standard rate of fire is for an AR-15 or any semi-automatic rifle for that matter? Because make no mistake, it ain't just these guys. Yeah, they want to get rid of these, but it ain't just these guys. It's semi-automatic rifles. That's what they wrote in the bill. Can you not see that the focus is on the semi-automatic rifle? That's what it is. To leave everything else so vague out there, so very vague, but to point out one specific thing, a semi-automatic rifle. That's the only specific thing that is written in this bill. Guys, you need to contact everybody. Contact Scalise, he's a majority whip. Contact Paul Ryan. Contact everybody you possibly can, not just the people who are on this list. Contact everyone. Nobody brings this topic up any other time. It's only brought up at this time because Democrats are trying to do this on the backs of dead people and injured people, because this is their way to take advantage of emotion out there and try to ram things through that people ordinarily, under normal circumstances and not being emotional, would not have approved of and would not have passed. They're taking advantage of this emotion for a very good reason. So the clock is ticking for the Democrats right now.
All right, guys, not sure if I'm back yet. If I am, again, there's a little bit of a lag over here, so I'm just trying to get everything down. Sorry for the echo at the beginning. My in-studio speakers were bouncing out of my microphone. Of course, I got headphones on, so I didn't hear that. So my apologies for that. Yeah, that's just pretty much a video we put out this week talking about HR 399. Now, I want to explain a little bit to you guys about, you know, I don't want anyone to think that, oh, Paul's just this big, crazy, you know, pro-Second Amendment guy who doesn't want to waver or move or budge or anything on the Second Amendment. No, I don't trust the people who are the ones calling the shots, writing these bills, and doing all this. Just like I said earlier, let me pull this up real quick. This was kind of mentioned in the video. Guys, you can go to congress.gov anytime you want and look at any of these bills, read the wording on them, and figure out what's going on with these. But as you can see, I've got it highlighted in blue there. Again, this is the wording of the bill: to prohibit the manufacture, possession, or transfer of any part or combination of parts that are designed and functions to increase the rate of fire of a semi-automatic rifle, but does not convert the semi-automatic rifle into a machine gun and for other purposes. Okay, two things about this that really, I shouldn't say that. There's three things that really bother me about it. One is just what I said in the video about increasing the rate of fire. Who is measuring that? Who is capturing that? Who is going to define what the standard acceptable rate of fire is? The second thing was the very thing I mentioned in the video, that semi-automatic rifles are the only thing that they were actually specific about in this particular bill writing. And the last thing is the very last three words, or last four words, and for other purposes. Okay, let's talk about and for other purposes. How many laws and how many bills would you be comfortable with somebody putting the words and for other purposes. That's like saying at the government's discretion. It's like writing a whole bill, an entire bill, and you can be as specific as you want to. You can nail it down to every single specific thing that you need it to be. You can tell them how to build a clock, how to build a watch, and get every single thing nailed down, and end it with, and at the government's discretion. So everything that was just written is null and void. It doesn't matter what was written in the bill. It makes no difference, because when you put at the government's discretion, that's like a blank checkbook. I mean, you're pretty much telling them, look, man, if we didn't cover it in the bill, you do whatever you want. We don't need that kind of vagueness in a bill that governs guns. We don't need that. And to take that a step further, let me show you something here. I'm going to pull up this guy. This is the dude. You tell me how brilliant this guy looks. Yeah, this guy definitely looks like somebody I want writing a bill on guns. This is Carlos Curbelo, and I may be pronouncing his name wrong because I'm from Louisiana, and with a last name like that, we call it Curbelo. It's probably Curbelo or something like that. I don't know, but nevertheless, this is the guy who has sponsored and written the bill. This is the guy who came up with it, okay? Let me tell you a little bit about Carlos's background, and I'm pulling all this off of Wikipedia, so you know, if you guys want to go confirm what I'm talking about, you can go check it out there. He won an election in 2014. He's been in Congress since 2015. He is from Miami. No problem with any of that. This is kind of admirable. He's the son of Cuban exiles in Florida. I guess that's like kind of like a Marco Rubio type thing. This is where it bothers me. Let me get down here to let's see here. Curbelo, he's broken ranks with his party many times. Not again, you know, we can't get into this Republican versus Democrat argument too often, because many times, just like in this case, the Republicans are doing the exact same thing the Democrats are doing. So it's not that I can feel like he can pump his fist being a Republican too much. But I'm going to tell you why I think this guy is pinning this bill. First of all, his background. Let me tell you what his here we go. He attended the University of Miami, where he earned a bachelor's and master's degree in public administration. Public administration. All right, I got to look at the camera real quick for this. If this guy had gotten a degree in mechanical engineering, maybe physics, something in science, anything technical, I probably would lean a little bit towards, okay, let me hear this guy out. But no, dude. You got your degree in public administration, and now you're trying to pretend that you know something about firearms and school me on them and tell me what I can or can't do with this vague wording. Let me go a little bit further on that. This is why we need to trust people like this to be the ones writing bills. Okay, let's see here. Let me tell you why this guy is so involved in this. Remember, he was elected in 2014, so he ran for re-election in 2016, ran unopposed, but here's the kicker. This guy, when Trump and Hillary ran against each other, the district that he's in, Hillary won it. So clearly, this guy's in a he's in a bad spot for him, for a Republican. He's in Florida. He's in a district that Hillary won. Now, as bad as that candidate was, when you're in a district that still votes for Hillary Clinton over Donald Trump, as horrible of as a candidate as she was, you're in a it's not friendly territory, if you know what I mean. So this guy has got to do whatever he can to get reelected. What better way to get reelected than to take on some of Hillary's topics that she was big on? Because again, he knows in his mind that Hillary won his district. He knows this. This is not a secret to this guy. Very well aware of that. He's also aware that when he comes up for re-election, he's got to get some of those votes. Because if those same people vote Democrat and Republican, just like they did in the general election for president, he's out. He's out. And these people eat really good on the government dole like this. So this guy didn't want to lose his meal ticket. So he's writing a bill based on emotion. And look, I'm not downplaying the whole Las Vegas thing. I mean, we did a prayer, a little bit of silence last week for them here on the show. And I would be willing to say that the conservatives that I know are probably better people than most of the liberals I know. So we're probably hurting a little bit more. We're just reasonable about it. But the Democrats right now are taking advantage of this emotion and really doing it in a sickening way by riding the backs of these dead people in Las Vegas and trying to ram stuff through without trying to be smart about it and do the right thing for the country. They're just trying to act on emotion, and that's what Carlos is doing. Now, Carlos is likely to have a real problem with us saying this because Carlos needs, just like I said about how he needs all those Hillary voters to allow him to win his re-election, he needs all of us too. So he's not going to be real happy with those on the right because that's ones that he thinks just because he's got an R behind his name that he's a shoo-in to win that election. So this guy's kind of in a pickle right now because now he's trying to adopt some of these Hillary ways and he's ticking off the guys on the right. That probably got him where he's at right now anyway. This guy's going to be in a bind. That's why he's writing a bill like this. That's why it's penned like this. It's so vague that this is the thing, okay? Let me explain to you, and I'm just giving you my opinion on how and why bills are written like this. When you write a bill that is this vague, okay, let me put it back up there. When you write a bill who has wording that is so vague like this that it doesn't say anything specific, the only specific thing is, again, the mention of a semi-automatic rifle. Nothing else is mentioned there as far as specifics. When you write something like this, it can be taken both ways. It can be taken to the extreme, like, oh, I meant this to be a whole lot more aggressive on gun control, or it can be taken really innocent. Hey, look, there's no specifics in there. See, we didn't really mean anything bad about this bill because we wrote it like this, real vague on purpose so that it wouldn't really affect anybody. So these folks can use the vagueness of this bill in their favor for or against the Second Amendment. So that's what the sickening thing about this is. When you write a vague bill like this, not only is it a catch-all for anything you want to throw in there that may affect the rate of fire of your semi-automatic rifle, but again, you can take either side of it. You know, this guy Corbello can run into the pro-Hillary sections of his district and say, see what I'm fighting for this. I'm trying to ban all these things. And I guarantee you, he'll say, and I'm not talking about just bump fire stocks. I'm trying to ban anything that's going to increase the rate of fire. In fact, the ultimate goal is semi-automatic rifles because look, we've even put semi-automatic rifles in here. Now, this guy hops into his black Yukon, drives to the other side of his district where the Trump supporting guys are and the guys who voted for Donald Trump, gets out of there and says, come on guys, look, you see how I worded this thing? I worded it like this so that nobody's really going to come try to take our guns away or try to take your semi-automatic rifle away. We made it vague on purpose so that there wasn't any specifics in there, so we really couldn't act on anything. Bullcrap. Bullcrap. I'll call bull on that. I will never be okay with that. Those guys try to play those games. Don't let them play those games because they're going to continue to try to play them, and we can't let them get away with that. We've got to call them on that. We've got to go to these town hall meetings and tell these guys face to face, look, I'm not buying that. Let me tell you something, and I don't think any of you are. I mean, there's a lot of you on here that, I'm watching your comments on there. You guys feel strongly about the Second Amendment, where we stand and what we need to stand for. But look, these guys in Congress, I don't care if they're the Lindsey Grahams and all these guys out there that have been there for 90-something years, because it seems like most of them have been. Don't be intimidated by these people. Don't be intimidated by them at all. They are no better than you and I. I don't care how much money they're making. Like Maxine Waters is making $178,000 a year, whatever the minimum is for. No, that's not what she's making, but the minimum in Congress right now, I think, is $100-something thousand a year. But this lady's a millionaire, and she wasn't a millionaire before then, so they're making good money. But don't let that intimidate you. Money's no reason to be intimidated by anybody. These people put their pants on one leg at a time, just like you and I do, and they need to be faced. People need to stand up and tell them and call them out at these town hall meetings whenever they go run for re-election. In fact, primary these people out. Whenever they're trying to run for these primaries to be the candidate for the Republican Party, or Democrats for that matter, stand up at the town halls, call them out, and primary them out. And threaten them like that. Threaten to primary them out. They need to know look, if you don't do what we want you to do, we're your constituents. We put you in office, and we will take you out of office if you don't do what we want us to do. Oh, Carlos here? Carlos may be in a bind, because Carlos may find that these people are not going to support him if he keeps this bill in place like it is. Now, I will say this vague wording that we've got right now, this bill is not complete. This bill is not complete. I just want to give my disclaimer here. This bill is still being worked on. It could get worse, it could get better. My guess is this thing probably is going to get scrapped. I can't see anybody trying to push this thing through. What I think is probably going to happen, and I'm no Nostradamus here, but I think that a lot of these, especially the Republicans, that there's 7 or 8 of them on here, I think the Republicans themselves are probably, some of them are in difficult districts to win for re-election, and I believe this is their way of saying, okay, I was for the conversation for gun control, because you know they keep saying let's have the conversation, when's the right time to have the conversation. This is the Republicans and the Democrats for that matter, because there's Democrats that'll get voted out if they vote straight anti-gun. But this is their way to be able to tell their constituents, you know what, guys, you know, this was a scary situation in Las Vegas, and I was emotional about it, and I wanted to make a change, and I wanted to be the difference, and blah 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 blah, all the lip service that you get. So I signed on preliminarily to make a difference on this bill and to be a co-sponsor for it. But the wording didn't work out the way I wanted it to, so I bailed out of it. You see what I mean? They're using it to jump in on it, because I mean the bill's not passed right now. It's got to pass the House, and it's got to pass the Senate. It's got to pass the Senate with the same wording as the House. If the Senate decides to change any wording, then it's got to go back to the House for them to vote on again. So it could go back and forth. This is all before it would make it to Trump's desk to begin with. It's a long road unless Trump passes an executive order, which I don't really see that happening. But the Republicans know that they're in the Republicans that have signed on to co-sponsor this bill, they know they're in a safe place right now, because they can always bail. They can always bail on this thing and say, no, the wording didn't come into play like I wanted it to. I was initially in on it, and I initially wanted to go with it, but yeah, it didn't pan out the way I wanted, so I'm going. So they get the feather in their cap for those constituents in their districts who were like, man, you know, I really wanted a change in gun control. And they'd go, man, look, I tried to co-sponsor a bill. It just didn't work out. So it's just games, y'all. They're playing games, and it's sad to see that all this is happening with the Second Amendment, that they're playing games with this, because this is a serious topic, very serious. You know, I'm going to be very fair and honest real quick. I watched arguments from both sides, from Democrats and Republicans, and let me even take the parties out of it. I watched the liberals and conservatives and the independents for the last week on comments on our videos and things like that, going back and forth. And you know, some of the conversations were brutal. You know, I actually posted one earlier today where somebody wished death on me and my family, and you know, something vulgar about my sister and all that. So who died in 2007, by the way. So you know, they don't know my family. They're just, you know, saying some nasty things to try to get at me and us. And I'm watching all this exchange between everybody. And I guess the positive side is you've got probably 70% of that is just, you know, the right and the left arguing with one another about, I'm pro-gun, I'm anti-gun, why do you have guns, you know, why do you care what guns I have, all that kind of stuff, you know, the kind of things that we all get involved in. I do too. But there was also some reasonable conversation in between where people would respectfully ask the right a question. They would respectfully ask us, hey, look, I'm not anti-gun, I've never shot guns before. Can you explain to me how this gun works? Is there a legitimate reason for it? I'm not saying it should be banned, but why would somebody want a bump fire stock? You know, things like that. So it's nice to see that some people are at least being cordial about it and being honest about not knowing anything about guns. The funniest part, and I guess it should be sad, but it's funny, makes me laugh, is when these lefties and the liberals who don't know anything about guns except for what they've seen on TV or in the movies or what they've seen on MSNBC or CNN, it's funny when they come in to our group and comment on our videos because they get hammered because they don't know anything about guns. They say clip instead of magazine, you know, the same old things that you always see, but they come in with an ounce of real knowledge and screw it up with all the bad information that they've gotten. And I mean, the pro-gun people who are knowledgeable just pounce on them and let them have it. So it's kind of fun to sit back and watch that. I know it's kind of mean to say that, but it is what it is. I mean, they deserve it. They came in an area where they wanted to try to bully somebody about a topic they don't know anything about, and unfortunately, they get it thrown right back at them. So, needless to say, I think that's enough about that, guys. I think it's important. I don't have the link right now, like up for you guys, where you can go to sign the petition to get rid of HR 3999, but I will post it. I'll find it and I'll post it in the description of this video for the live stream, so you guys can go do it. I went out there last night or the night before and signed the petition. Remember that when you sign the petition, guys, you got to click on it saying you don't want the petition. I think you can say why. I think you can add some text in there also, but just pay attention that you're going to get, it's asked for your email address also. Remember to go in there and validate your email address, because what will happen is after you click on the petition to sign it or whatever, it's going to send you an email and it's going to say verify or confirm your email address or whatever, and then I think that's when it locks in your signing of the petition. So make sure you address that follow-up email. It's not junk mail. It's something you need to do, again, to validate that entry that you made on the petition itself. So please remember to do that when you do actually go sign the petition. Again, and I see the collar rubber, Paul, there's 2 petitions, signed both. Okay, I just know of the one. If you could maybe email me the 2 links you're talking about, and email it to Paul at legallyarmedamerica.com, and what I'll do is I'll post both of them. I mean, yeah, I mean, whatever petitions are out there, let's sign them all. I mean, you know, I think it's good that we all get involved in it, and definitely, you know, make sure these people hear our voice. Brian Dale says, hey, Legal in America, do you have a Twitter or Facebook page? Yes, we have both. I think because of the amount of characters in our name, Legally Armed America, we could not, the Twitter page, we couldn't spell it like that. I believe it's Legally Armed USA. But if you do a search for Legally Armed America on Twitter, I think it will come up. And I'm pretty sure the handle is Legally Armed USA. And of course, just search for Legally Armed America on Facebook and it'll come up. Let's see. What else do I have to go? Oh, one of you guys said, I just wrote this note down as the video was playing a minute ago. Archangel, I'm not sure if you're still on here, but you mentioned that in Massachusetts, I had not heard this. He just mentioned this in the stream here a second ago, that in Massachusetts, they passed a law banning bump fire stocks this week. I'm assuming it was this week. And the penalty for having one is a 20-year prison sentence. A 20-year prison sentence. Now, I've got my own opinions about that. Let me tell you something. The reason why we have such problems with guns, obviously, it ain't us. It's just not us. We know that. The left knows that. It's the criminals using these guns, and it's the slap on the wrist and the sentences that they don't get. They have laws on the books. And of course, everybody from the left hates that we keep bringing that back up. It's a fact. There are laws on the books. When a guy uses a gun in a crime, if you would throw the book at him, you know, the guy that has 2 pounds of weed on him, I'm not real worried about that guy. Number one, he's not a violent criminal. Number two, he's probably stoned all the time. He's not a threat to me. But the guy who uses a gun in a crime, throw the book at him. Why are our prisons full of guys that sell weed, and these guys that use guns in crimes get back out on the street and keep doing the same thing? We got laws that would already protect us and keep these people in jail where they need to be. Either reform them or keep them there. But don't let them out before they even get a chance to get some kind of reform. But no, they want to do stuff like this and say, if you simply possess a bump fire stock, like that one right there. So if I lived in Massachusetts and I own that, I'd go to jail for 20 years. What's wrong with that picture? So you're telling me that I'm going to go from the back of the line just owning a bump stock. I'm a perfectly legal citizen. I bought that thing legally. Actually, I didn't buy that. It was given to me. But if I were in Massachusetts and I had bought it. So you're going to want to throw me in jail for 20 years. So I got Johnny over here who's in front of me in line because this dude used a gun in a crime. Shot somebody. Killed somebody maybe. armed robbery, whatever, and you're going to take me and put me to the front of the line, guaranteeing me 20 years in prison. I've done nothing wrong, nothing violent, nothing at all. My crime was owning something that I bought legally. And all these other guys, you let them back out on the street with a slap on the wrist. What's wrong with our laws, man? That's what's wrong with our laws. Anyway, guys, I hate to go off on those tangents like that. Let's do something fun for a change, all right? I say for a change. There's not been much fun stuff to talk about. I want to talk about a new pistol on the market. This is I say new. I guess you could call it a refined pistol on the market. Let me get a full close-up picture here so you guys can see it, since it's hard to see on my camera. This, of course, guys, is a new M&P 9mm M2.0. This is a brand new pistol, guys. This is a good-looking pistol. We're lucky enough to get our hands on one. By the way, the M&P Shield 2.0 comes out next week, so we'll have our hands on one of those also. That's going to be pretty interesting to see also. I'm going to let you guys go through some of this stuff with me as I read through it. Of course, you see here the MSRP is $5.99. Good looking pistol. Here's the specs on this thing. Let's pull this up here. All right, fellas. You see it's got some good stuff on it. I mean, I like a couple of things. Let me look at it real quick here with you guys. The front sight and the rear sights, of course, are steel white dots, as opposed to the plastic white dots that Glock keeps putting on their pistols. I'm not here to beat up Glock. I'm just saying that's been a knock that a lot of people have had on Glocks for a very long time, the plastic sights, and of course Smith and Wesson does not do that. If you'll notice, it's got a 17+1 capacity. I'll show you a little bit more on that here in a second and explain that to you. Of course, it's striker fired. The stainless steel Armornite finish, that's pretty cool. Where's the thing I wanted to point out? I guess they don't have it listed here. Let me go ahead and show you guys. All right, a couple of things that I want to show you real quick. All right, one of the things is this thing comes with 2 magazines. Now, of course, you guys know the rules in here. You know, all the guns we have, none of them are loaded except the ones that are on your side, and it can't be unholstered in here. So there's no other weapons that are allowed with ammo in them. So if you ever see me grab a gun inside the Temple of Boom in here, obviously they are not loaded. We do not allow that. There's a red bin at the door that if you bring a gun in here that's not holstered and it has ammo in it, your ammo goes in the red bin over here, and you can take it on the way out. So just so you guys know, if you ever see me grab one and I don't clear it, that's why. The M&P 2.0 comes with 2 magazines. Now, I just said that it was a 17+1. This magazine that comes with it, this is the compact version, is a 15+1. Let me show you something that's pretty cool. Okay, this gun comes with 2 of these in the box. I'm looking over here to make sure you guys can see them. So it comes with 2 of these. All right, again, you look at your standard magazine that comes with it. Full-size magazine, or compact magazine, I should say. Now, you can take one of your M&P full-size magazines, and you take this deal. Comes with 2 of these again. Slide it on here. See how it makes that foot right around the base plate? Then you can use your full-size magazines with your pistol, with your compact pistol. You're using your full-size mag that's now a 17+1. The pistol comes as a 15+1 with its standard magazine. Now you have a 17+1. Pretty cool. Looks good. I mean, you got a nice little grip down here to hold on to. You know, that's another thing. The grip on this gun is amazing. I like the stippling on it. You'll notice a couple of things that really kind of drew my attention to it. Remember, and it's far over here, but remember the whole competition with 6 Hour in getting the government contract. Okay, the government expected some things. One of the things that they were really leaning towards, they may have even mandated this, I'm not sure because I haven't done enough research on the government contracts, just in what I've read in different publications and online, but I'm pretty sure they either leaned towards it or mandated the type of chassis that SIG has, where they pull that chassis out of the whole body, the whole frame, pull it out of it, and you can interchange it with different calibers, different size frames, and all that. Well, you'll notice that SIG did that, and some of the other guys did that. That's one of the biggest changes on this Smith and Wesson M&P 2.0. If you can see right there, I'm going to point it, and then I'm going to try to put it closer to the camera. Look right there. You'll notice the serial number inside there. Okay, and that's not on the frame. That serial number is not on the frame. That's on the chassis. On the inside, that chassis comes out of there. So that serial number is not any longer on the frame itself. Again, it's on the chassis of the actual pistol that will come out. So this thing here, that's probably the biggest change that is on the M&P versus the older M&Ps, is that it's built basically like the Sig Sauer in terms of, you know, having that whole drop-in chassis. So we'll see how that works out. I get the feeling that we're going to see a lot of these pistols evolving to this, because as me and a friend were talking about earlier, whenever the Army or the military asks for something to be done a certain way, eventually everybody kind of evolves to that and makes it happen like that. So definitely a big change. That's a very unique change. I will say this, a couple of things. I love the pistol. I have not shot it yet. Just want to be honest with you guys. I have not shot it. Picked this thing up literally today. I've never been a big fan of this huge scoop trigger that these guys have. That big giant arch in there. And the main reason why is because, of course, I love 1911s, and I just love the rear movement of a standard 1911 trigger. But this hinged trigger that hinges way at the top up here, but with it being a big arching radius like that, your finger kind of moves in it. In other words, when you're pulling back, it makes you start pulling down and back. Like you're wanting to pull straight back, but when you put your finger in this groove, it makes it swing down and back up like that. It may not seem like a big deal, but it does make a difference in the angle of your finger and how you put that thing. If you're using just the pad of your finger on that trigger, it does make a difference on that. So you know, rapid fire, whatever, it's not going to make a huge difference on it, but it can make a difference. I mean, that trigger finger placement is so critical on a pistol that, to me, that's kind of a big deal. Let's check the trigger pull on it. I have not done that yet. All right, let's see here. Just so you know, we are at 0, and let me try this trigger real quick. I got it breaking at 414. First pull, 414. Let me get rid of that and try it again. See how consistent that is. Oh, I must have caught on something. That one jacked way up. Okay, here, see here, 414 was the first one. Yeah, 5. It's catching on something. Let me clear this. Yeah, I see what it's doing. It's catching on that little bar on the inside. Yep. .57. That can't be right. That's not an almost 6-pound trigger. This trigger, the way it's hinged in the middle, is a little bit tough to get it to break right. 414. 2 414s that I got. What I'll do is I'll use this. Is nifty as this thing seems, because it's electronic and all that, and it's a neat looking gadget. This is a terrible design right here as far as grabbing the trigger, because it's not the right size. It's too narrow, so it doesn't fit a trigger right. And because of the way you have to pull it back, it's just not a good way to do it. The old school that has the big spring on the inside of it and the arm that comes out with the piece of rubber on the end, that's what we'll use on this, and we'll get a more consistent trigger pull on that. I will say this, the reset is really good on this thing, and we'll show this more in a video that we do later on. But the reset, watch this. Okay, goes bang right there. Now watch the reset, how sharp the reset is. See right there, that's the reset. Very sharp reset, extremely sharp. Again, see if you can see it right there. So decent reset on this thing. I think they've done a lot. The trigger seems to be really good. I like the trigger on it a lot. Dry firing it. Have not fired it live yet with the live round in it. So I'm excited to do that. But yeah, man, I got to tell you, I always like the look of the M&Ps. They just do such good slide work. They have the same type of serrations that they put on their Pro series. What's the the series of the 1911s where they have the wavy looking scale serrations like that. I want to. There's something shop, like a custom shop, and they put those serrations on their custom shop 1911. So I like the way they put that on their M&Ps. But the slide cuts, everything on M&P, I just always thought they looked good. You know, very, very sleek looking. They've always tapered the front of the barrel down to where it's easy to holster. So yeah, man, good looking gun. Of course, you have your rail on the bottom of it. The stippling is great. Like I said earlier, you get really good grip. There are, I want to say four different back straps, palm swells that you can put on. The one on here, and then these other three. As you can see, you've got some, you know, pretty big ones here. So you got big hands. This thing's probably going to accommodate you. So yeah, man. I will tell you how much I recommend this gun later on, and you know, hopefully we'll get out and shoot it. Not going to be able to shoot it next week. Next week we have a big firearms conference down in San Antonio that we'll be at, so I'll be out of town for that, and hopefully the following week, maybe, or maybe next weekend, possibly go shoot that thing. So I'm looking forward to it. It looks like I've got about 10 minutes to go before 11:30. Let's see. Let me run through here, guys, if you would. I'd love to take some of your questions or comments or address some of your comments. So if any of you guys want to get the ball rolling, I'm happy to do that. Again, guys, I always appreciate when you guys hang out with us on a Friday night. It's a lot of fun for me. If nothing else, I get to get some things off of my chest and talk about some of the things that have been bothering me. I want to make sure I covered all of my topics in here. It looks like I have. I've pretty much covered everything that we had that I wanted to talk about. So yeah. I dry fired a Canic and loved how it felt. Yeah, the Canic actually, surprisingly, the Canic slide is cut a lot like the M&P. Has a very similar slide to it. There's real long, straight cuts where it's tapered on the front of it. Tell us more about the conference in San Antonio. It's just it's an annual conference. There's more major firearms conferences out there. This one's not open to the public. It's wholesalers, manufacturers, and media. And it's like it's kind of a different style of an NRA or a SHOT Show. That's the three main ones that we go to from Legally on America. We hit SHOT Show every year. We hit the NRA show every year. We hit NESGW every year. So definitely it's a pretty cool little deal. It's a good place to network a little bit, meet a lot of the gun companies. It's going to be an interesting time there, to be honest with you, because I don't know if Slide Fire is going to be there. I haven't checked the itinerary yet to see who all is going to be there. Usually it's everybody. I'm just curious if Slide Fire is going to be there, because Slide Fire just got a lawsuit placed against them this week talking about knee-jerk reactions on the bump fire stock of theirs, or Slide Fire stock. So not sure not sure how that's going to go. Plus, you know, a lot of the AR-15 guys agree, manufacturers, I've spoken to a lot of them this week, and they agree with me that this HR 3999 is aimed at them indirectly, but it's aimed at them. So a little bit of nerves in the industry right now. Let me go back through some of your comments again. Yeah, Red Mac says, I appreciate the fact that you do this every week, and I appreciate you guys being here. I mean, excuse me. To me, it's more of a deal that you guys are going to be doing, you know, that you spend your time here on a Friday night. So I'm a whole lot more appreciative of that than probably you guys are of me actually being here. What's a good website to buy used guns? I have no idea. I don't buy guns online, and I don't buy used guns. I just don't, not unless it's a relic or something like that. And I'm not being, you know, a smart ass when I tell you that. I just don't. I don't have any experience with that. Maybe somebody else in the room can help you with that. Red Max 78 says he's going to his first gun show this weekend. Where at? I'm just curious where your gun show is. Curious about the mood on it. Maybe check back in with us next Friday. I'm curious the mood at gun shows right now, like the local gun shows. I'm curious how the mood is. I'm sure news cameras will be out there too. Blazing 1212 says call your reps. Absolutely. More bills were introduced this week other than the HR 3999. Yeah, it's funny that HR 3999 got more, I guess, popularity and more press. But there are others out there, and there are others that are more overarching than this one. There's one, I want to say it might be the one that Feinstein had a role in, and I want to say they had 10-year prison sentence and becoming a felon if you owned a bump fire. Make no mistake, folks, this is not something they're going to grandfather in. Just know this. If they make it a federal law for me to not have that, I have to get rid of it. I have to destroy it, get rid of it. I know it's not serialized, so I can hide it, but the government is going to expect me to get rid of it. They're not going to tell me, all right, Paul, you already had yours, you're good. No. If I keep that thing and I get caught with it, I can go to prison for that. So they're going to make felons out of a lot of people. And once you make a felon out of me, I can't own anything that you see on this wall behind me. That's the danger of it. Where do those guns go? I mean, I can't give them away. I guess I could. Wondering about discussion. Hold on, back up on reciprocity. Man, the reciprocity discussion, I was actually a little bit surprised. Excuse me one second. I was a little bit surprised to see the NRA include in their statement that they made about bump fire stocks. I was surprised to see them include their comment about reciprocity. And the main reason why is because I felt like there were other issues. It was almost like they were saying, all right, guys, we're giving you the bump fire stock. Now we want reciprocity. Okay, the state I live in, I'm happy with, Louisiana. And my neighboring states, I'm happy with too. Now, that's not to say that everybody else is happy with their neighboring states. And I'm not one of those guys that says, I'm good, so screw you. But I felt like there were more pressing issues out there that were pro-Second Amendment that I would have liked to have seen the NRA include, like the Hearing Protection Act. I would have much rather see them go, all right, guys, we're giving you a bone. Now we expect something in return, and this is what we want, the Hearing Protection Act. But no, they threw the reciprocity in there. So I was a little baffled by that. I got to say this, there's smarter people at the NRA than what I am, because I've seen how they work, and they amaze me at the way they play the game, because they understand how the game is played, and they do things that we don't always understand, but there's a reason for it, and later on you see it and you're like, I get it now, I see. But I was a little surprised at that. Reciprocity, look, man, I'm all for it. I don't see why we don't have reciprocity. I know everybody likes to throw the analogy in there of cars, but if my driver's license is good in all 50 states, why isn't my concealed carry license? I get why California and New York and Chicago, why they don't want it, because they have such overarching crazy gun laws. And I guess you can't pick out 45 states to reciprocate in and leave those guys out. So that's where the kind of the speed bump is. But I don't know that that's going to get pushed through. I don't see how it can. There's no way that California, look, if they pass national reciprocity to all 50 states, let me give you the best advice I can give you. Don't drive to California with your concealed carry gun. Federal law or not, they're going to lock you up. I'm just being honest with you. And people are crazy over there. They do things the way they want to. They don't care about federal law. And the federal government ain't going to step in and take up for you. I can promise you that. Now, you may win that case in court if it goes to court, but you're going to spend some time in jail if you say, hey man, federal law, I got my concealed carry license here, I can come to California with, nope, don't try it. Don't do it. You're going to wind up in jail. Get an attorney before you go do that, because it's not going to be smart for you to do that. Let's see, guys, let me roll through a little bit more of this if I can. And I'm really trying to run through this. I know we're about to get over on time, so What stock position do you run on your AR-15s? Stock position, man, I have no idea, and I really don't know, honestly, because of the different style of optics that I use. This is from Blazing1212. Asked me what stock position do I run on my AR-15s. Again, it's not really a comfort thing with me because I don't set it standard all the time. It matters to me. I have some 4-power optics that I use, and then I have just some plain red dots. Yeah, some plain red dots that I use. So the position, it's based on whatever my relief that I require. I mean, I know a red dot, you don't need it quite as much, but I like a bigger field of view. Sometimes I'll pull my red dot a little further back on my AR-15 so that I have a bigger field of view instead of pushing it away from me where it's got a much smaller field of view. I like having it a little bit closer to me, so that make me have my stock in a little bit different position. Again, I'm no expert at that. That's just how I do it. I'm sure there's some pros out there and some tactical guys that can give you a little bit more information than that. I don't like to get off into things that I'm not exactly a pro in. Let's see here. Let me roll through some more of your stuff. I'm sorry, guys. I'm really trying to scroll through this pretty fast. Northwest Indiana here. Welcome. Oh, I talked to you earlier. Yeah, glad you're with us. People protested about the gun show Saturday in St. Charles, Missouri. Like, how dare they after Vegas? They even stole those small signs from sides of the roads. That's so stupid. That's so stupid. Okay, so you're telling me that anytime there's any kind of a tragedy that we all feel bad about, that anything related to it we all have to stop doing for a certain period of time? How long? I mean, where's the rule on that? It drives me nuts the way we're getting so touchy-feely. I bought a shirt today that said, oh gosh, you hurt my feelings. I'm dressing up as an Antifa person for Halloween next week at a party I'm going to. And that's going to be part of my costume. You hurt my feelings. I mean, come on, man. Why can't we be adults for a change? I think these millennials are trickling into the adult population, and they're infesting it with this whole touchy-feely kind of attitude that they have. You know, so what? In Missouri, you can't have a gun show a week after a shooting somewhere? Well, if that's the case, there shouldn't be any gun shows around here because they're killing people left and right in Chicago. Nobody cares about that. So we ban all gun shows or just halt all gun shows because there's murders? I'm not okay with the murders in Chicago, but apparently they are. Rahm Emanuel certainly is. Let's see. What's the price tag on that handgun we were looking at? That was, I think the MSRP was $599. You won't pay that. You'll probably pay $500, $550, something like that. I would guess that's probably what you're going to get it for, or in between there, of course. Let's see. Again, I'm looking through y'all's questions. Anybody that just joined us, what do you think about the RAS 47? It's obviously a good rifle. Some people bash it. I've heard some bad things about it, but come on, man. You know, it's an AK. It's not a 1911. So I mean, I'll take a Kalashnikov over it any day. But I mean, Century, they're giving you a budget AK. You know, and again, it's going to work. So. Again, guys, I'm trying to roll through your questions that you have. Well, I think that's, do I have a boom? Why are you not answering a simple question? Do you have a boom or not? What are you talking about, Viking Warrior? Are you talking to me? Do I have a boom? What is a boom? I'm not sure if I follow you. Yeah, okay. Let's see. This is what we can do to people who are smart asses. Bye, Viking Warrior. Bye. That's easy enough. You can watch, but you can't play. All right, guys. Real quick, I'll take another quick question, couple before we get out of here. Hal Gwynn says, "What brand is your go-to AR?" Man, I got my go-to brand is the Wind and Weaponry. They make the best. They make the best. They may not make the prettiest. They may not make a bolt carrier group that you can fry eggs on because it's so slick. They may not make one that is going to be in a gazillion Instagram pictures because it's pretty. All that good stuff. Let me tell you something. They make one that can take a freaking beating. We've got a bunch of videos. We had a gun bully segment that we ran a couple of years ago, and we took a Wind and Weaponry AR-15, put it through all kinds of stuff, beat that thing up bad. Continue to run, continue to run. And let me tell you what I've done with that AR-15. It's actually downstairs. It's in my garage right now. I took that AR-15 and I put that thing downstairs with a loaded magazine sitting up on top of a shelf. Excuse me. That's my go-to gun in case anything happens in the whole garage area of my house. Why? This thing looks terrible. But it's not there because, oh, it's, you know, it's a truck gun, so I don't care what it looks like, because I know it's going to run. If spiders get in it, if dirt gets in it, doesn't matter what gets in it, this thing is going to run. Again, I have prettier AR-15s than that. I've got a Patriot Arms, Patriot Ordnance. You can't see it. It's up here. I got a Patriot Ordnance I love. It's beautiful, beautiful. I've got some other ones over here that I'm real fond of, the way they look. But, man, I'm telling you, if I had to trust my life, if somebody's kicking my door in, I'm grabbing the oldest, dirtiest, most beat-up Wind and Weaponry AR-15 that I've got, and I'm jamming a magazine into it, and I'm going to work. So that's, I love them. They're good guns. They're good AR. An AR-15, if you want it to run, if you're looking for a workhorse, it's like a Corvette in a pickup truck. You know, when I go to work in the morning, I don't have a Corvette, just so you guys know. When I go to work in the morning, I would never hesitate. I've got a Jeep and a truck sitting out in the driveway. I hop in my pickup truck because I know no matter where I go, it's going to get me there. It can haul everything I need, and I'm good to go no matter what I do or where I go. So that's why I grabbed the Wind and Weaponry. I think that they're head and shoulders above everybody else. I've been to their facility. I'm impressed with it. It's like walking into a dentist's office. It's all clean. There's no trash anywhere. The floors are clean. The workers are all going to town. You know, the workers buy into the product. That's important, guys. I saw excuse me, I saw a story earlier. I'm a music fan also, and I saw a story earlier on guitars. The guitarist from Mastodon left Gibson and went to ESP. And he was talking about how the people at Gibson, they had fired all the guys who were the mainstays there, the guys who knew stuff, and got all these guys in there that didn't know anything, didn't care about the product, didn't care about who they were sponsoring and a part of. And that's my point with Wyndham. Wyndham doesn't have a nice or a high rate of turnover. To my knowledge, they don't have any turnover. I mean, I've seen a lot of the same familiar faces there that now, excuse me, that I've seen many times before. Those guys care about the product. The company cares about them. When the company cares about the workers care about the product. And that's what's happening with Wind and Weaponry. Those guys are a family over there, and they take care of each other. And they're not going to let an AR-15 get thrown into a box that they're not 100% sure of, because they know it's going to reflect on the company who is taking care of and caring for that employee. So the employees have bought into that rifle over there, and that's why I'm so sold on it. Man, look, I got a video out too that show us walking through their quality control process. You have never seen the throwaway stuff that they had that they didn't approve of. If I could have thrown it all in my bag and taken it home, it was fine with me. I'd have been perfectly okay with it. We're talking about lowers that hadn't even been anodized yet. They were still the aluminum lower that had the silver, like aluminum lower. They had pink marks, pink circles drawn on, different blemishes and whatnot. And I'm like, really? Well, if you'd have anodized that, you would have never seen it. Not them. They take all these parts. There's a huge big warehouse that's nothing but quality control. they take all these parts and they run through all of them. So when you're getting a gun, they're not taking these mass-produced parts and just slamming them in there. Quality control approves every part before it even goes to production. Again, this isn't a commercial for Windham Weaponry. I've just had the fortunate ability to go to their plant in Maine and look at everything from the time the part comes in the front door till the time it goes out in a box in the back door. So very impressed with them. And again, I was impressed with the rifle before I even went up there and hung out with them. So guys, we're going to shut it down here. I'm over right now by about 10 minutes. I can't say how much I appreciate you guys hanging out with us. This is fun for me. I really enjoy this. I really like the feedback from you guys. I'm going to spend a little time on here. What I'm going to probably do, I hate that the feed gets killed and I can't hang out with you guys on the stream. So what I'm probably going to do is aim the camera up or something like that and spend the next 5 or 10 minutes just visiting with you guys and trying to answer some more of the questions on here that I can't get to because it's hard for me to, you know, address you all and take care of this. So I'm going to spend about 5 or so minutes hanging out with you guys just in the chat room. And again, I'm just going to aim the camera elsewhere, and then we'll turn it all off here in a little bit. Guys, thank y'all for hanging out with us. It means a lot to me. I appreciate it. I look forward to Friday nights with you all, and you know, our numbers grow every single Friday. We're getting more and more people coming in here and more feedback. Really good room tonight. You guys have been totally active, and that's cool. It's fun for me to do that. So again, I'm going to aim the camera away, hang out with you all in the chat room a little bit more, and then I'll kill the feed after we've kind of died out a little bit in the chat room. Thanks guys, appreciate everything. Just reading through you guys questions. Nathan D asks if I have any 300 blackout ARs. Yes, I have a CMMG that my good friend, who is probably still on here, Jared from Action Arms, sold to me last year, I believe. Sadly though, I have not shot it yet. So Ben Becker says, great show tonight. Appreciate that, Ben. You guys are what makes it fun. Best deer hunting gun in my opinion. To be honest with you, I do not deer hunt. I don't have the patience to deer hunt. And that's just the honest to God truth. I hunt and do everything else, but deer hunting, I have gone deer hunting one time in my life, and I was probably 11 or 12. That was enough for me. I fidgeted and moved around so much, everybody from miles around could hear me. Ryan Westall says, I purchased my AR-15 because of that gun bully video about Windham. Well, good, Ryan. Let Windham know that's why you bought it, because it's good for them to hear that we push people their way. They don't pay us any money or anything, but it's nice to know, you know, that they're getting some business off of some of the good press that we're doing for them. David McLean says, Paul, which model Windham would you recommend? Well, actually, if you want to know the truth, Windham Weaponry actually makes a legally owned America model, and in fact I talked to them the other day and they've got about 20 of them left, the lowers up there. I think they have them some 7.62 by 39, they have some 7.62 by 51, and they have some 5.56s. They can make them any way you want. I mean, there's no one. That's the beauty of Windham. You know, a lot of these gun manufacturers, you've got one manufacturer that has just their standard list, and Windham, you can customize your gun however you want. It doesn't cost you a penny more. They don't charge you more to customize a gun. So I would find what you like about them and just make your own. Brian Marshall says, glad you found us. Brian, glad you're here, buddy. Let's see. Aim the camera at the Springfield M14. You can see a little bit of it there. Jason, I guess, is gone. Everybody be safe till next time. Thanks, Jason. Jumanji, what's your thoughts on the Congress bill that says all semi-auto guns will be banned? Maybe you're talking about HR 3999. I'm not sure. The implication is that they could all be banned indirectly. I have a video of my thoughts on that, and we actually talked about that earlier, so instead of boring everybody else on here, might want to check that out. That is not a full auto M16, but it is a 1969 M16. That was the M16 you see up there. This is B No asking the, no, I'm sorry, it's not, I'm sorry. You roll back up and see. It was I Like Turtles. Is that a fully automatic M16? No, that is well, actually a police issue M16 from 1969, and it rode around in a police officer's squad car's trunk for many years, and got out of service not too long ago. Do you think we should go and buy bump fired stocks? No, I don't. I don't think that they're if you go buy one now, we were talking earlier that these things are going to be illegal at some point, and they're not going to grandfather that in. So if you go buy them now, you're kind of wasting your money. Because if you get caught with them later on, you'll be a felon and you won't be able to own any guns. So I don't recommend getting anything that will potentially turn you into a felon at some point and not allow you to own a firearm. Blazing 1212, I don't know what the future of the AR platform is for the military. 6.5 Creedmoor, 308, or 300 AAC. I thought they were going to go back to 308. I personally did. 6.5 Creedmoor would be a great round for them, but I don't know, man. I'm a big 308 fan. I really like the 308, so I'd like to see them go that way. Let's see here. John Ramsey is one of our friends from Gun District. Guys, if you don't know, we also run gundistrict.com, which is basically a replacement for Facebook. It's a social media platform for gun people. And John is a regular on there. John says, can you give any ideas on when Gun District might get back to working for us, Mac Pro user who are having a heck of a time out there lately? Yeah, I know. It is, anytime you make wholesale changes like that, it screws up a whole lot of stuff. It's like you modify one thing and it screws 3 other things up. I don't know a timeline, to be honest with you. I just know that people are constantly working on it. Jason Schaefer, don't forget to post the links to sign. I will. I know one of you guys had sent me a couple of links, and I will grab those here in a little bit and I will post them. Where was that comment at? Louise had something. Have you heard of or shot a Regent Arms 1911? Yeah, I have. Actually, my brother has one, and it's a good gun. It's a Turkish gun, but it's a well-made gun. I can't complain about them at all. Glock 7mm rim mag asks status update on my P320. No idea. I got some email from them a couple of days ago, and I think it was just too busy. I haven't read the email, but it was an email from that department. So I will try to read that and know something by next week. Got you. The Kyle Robert was the one to send the links. Kyle, I'll check my email here in a little bit and I will pass those on. B Note is asking, I guess you're asking if I originally voted for Trump. Yes, I did. There's no way I could have allowed myself to not vote against Hillary Clinton. That's an evil ass woman right there. Not a good person. Imagine where we would be right now. You don't think we'd have an executive order today after that Vegas shooting, if Hillary would have been our president, you bet we'd have won. The gun industry would be in a bind right now with that woman in there. Guys, I'm going to go ahead and kill this feed. So I got to get some sleep. I'm shooting in a skeet tournament in the morning, and I need to get some rest. Again, guys, enjoyed it. Thank you all for your time. I appreciate it. A lot of fun for me, and I appreciate you guys. Guys, take care, and we will see you all next Friday.